Good morning, folks. Ann here. I got a sunburn yesterday. I was up to the camp with my sister and a couple of my brothers, and we went out on the boat, and that's the first time I really got out in the sun this year for that long of a time. It's cloudy. It's raining right now, and I want to get this walk over. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, and so I had a great day yesterday, and I felt good to do the things I needed to do to help my sister on the boat when we pulled in the dock. And I guess I better go a little slower. So today, folks, I wanted to talk about low carb and letting go. And the first thing that we need to let go is to let go of the thinking that our diets are all or nothing. Now, we've discussed this. I know we all sometimes think we have to be perfect right from the beginning, and we have to let that thought go. We have to realize that it's a slow process. It's going to take time, and the idea is to make progress and not perfection. Perfection will come. Well, I don't know if we're ever going to have perfection, because it's always a learning phase, and we're always trying to do better. So we might not ever meet that state of perfection, because there's always something to learn. So if that's the case, don't try to be perfect now when you first start. It's gradual. Take it slow. Don't hurt your body more than you have been hurting it. I know I've talked about this before, but this is something we have to learn to let go of. That thought process. Because it's not doing us any good. It just makes us feel like a failure if we slip. And we don't want that, folks. You know, every time we do something right is progress. It's not a failure if you didn't do everything right. It's just little baby steps. You know? And the next one that we need to let go is comfort foods. We are so conditioned to having those comfort foods when we need it, and we have to let go of that. Now, all of these are things I've talked about before, and we all know them. It's not like I'm a genius. We know this. But sometimes it really does help to have a reminder. You know, those comfort foods, you know, I always relied on them. You know, no matter what kind of mood I was in. Even a good mood. You know, even the thought, how many of us think, oh, it's the weekend, I can let my hair down, I deserve it, I worked all week. That's not giving you something that is a good thing. If you pig out all weekend, you know, you don't deserve that, because that's just going to bring you down and hurt you. A better thing to do would be to go out on a walk, or you know, go explore something new, or just get out of the house if you're able to. And if you're on the low carb, you're going to start being able to do that. So we have to get rid of the thought that we need those comfort foods. And I don't know if I told you the other day, but it was the day that I went for the walk in Saratoga, the Geyser Trail. Did I tell you? But I felt like I deserved to go out and have a good meal. And I wanted to, because I was going to go shopping and it was lunchtime and I had to have something to eat. And I was going to get that little cheap meal from McDonald's. And I ended up going to a sports bar. Now the bar, it was a big, huge place, and it was the early afternoon, and there weren't more than 10 people in there, and I knew it wasn't crowded. Because I don't like going to bars. This was more of a restaurant. And I ordered some chicken wings. Now I know they're probably cooked with those seed oils. And I did have some of the dip. And I had some of the celery, but I didn't eat the carrots that they gave me. And that was very satisfying. And it wasn't perfect, folks, but you know, I guess I did think of that like a comfort food. I wanted something good to eat. But I did pretty good, I thought. I thought I didn't have French fries to go with it. And they asked me, and I didn't hesitate. I said, nope, just the chicken wings, please. Now that dip, we know that has carbs in it. I actually took a picture of the plate. And I took a picture of the final view of the plate. And I'll share that. I'll try to see if I could dig it out of my photos and share it with you at the end of this video. I also want to share at the end of this video what I took for my day up at my outing up at the lake yesterday. I packed my own little lunch. And I made sure to have snacks on hand in case I started getting, you know, wheezy out on that boat. So I made a short little video I'm going to put on the back of this one just so you could see. Because some people are asking me what I'm eating. And I'm not a big cook, folks. And I can't do the cooking videos. You know, that requires standing. And I still, you know, I'm not ready to do that. But I'm starting to take pictures of my meals. They're nothing fancy, but people have been asking, and I want to make sure I put something out there just so they could see what my meals look like. And so I'm working on that. So the next thing we need to start letting go of are our old beliefs. That we're always going to be fat. No matter what, we're always going to be fat. That was one time around, folks. And that thought gets ingrained into our mind. And I've heard that even people that have lost weight still feel like they're fat. You know? And even, anorexia. I mean, now we're talking extreme, but those people still feel fat, even when they're unhealthy. Their bones, their mind is telling them that they're fat and they need to lose weight. Now, I know we don't get into that, thank God, most of us, that kind of mindset. But just thinking, you know, even if you get down, when you start losing weight, start to see the progress and don't just always feel like you're just fat because you're looking at it the wrong way. Instead of looking at like, wow. And I'm guilty of this. When I say these things, it's for me too. Instead of looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, wow, look at how much I'm losing. You look in the mirror and you say, oh my God, I got so long to go. Look at how fat I am. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it. These are things I need to be aware of too. We want to start thinking positively about things. That's one of the first things we can. You know, be happy for what you're accomplishing. And it doesn't matter how slow you're accomplishing it. If you're taking one baby step a week, that is something to be proud of, to pat yourself on the back on, and look on the bright side. You're headed in the right direction. That's what's going to get you to the finish line. And me too. And then another one that we have to let go of is the fact that we're aging. And we just got to accept everything. We don't. I'm getting comments from people that are into their 80s telling me how well they're doing on the carnivore diet, the keto diet, the low-carb diet. These are people that are up there in years, and they've had such a wonderful quality of life, and they're healthy, and they're not suffering for all those years with pain and with ailments. You know, they're doing the right thing. They've learned years ago that carbs and the processed food were killing them. They got off of it, and their life changed dramatically. You know, I love videos from people that have been carnivore or, you know, whatever, low carb. I love those comments. And I'm hoping the rest of us that aren't quite there do read those, because they're so inspiring, and they confirm what we're working for. Those are wonderful messages that they send us. And we learn from that, folks. And these are people that are getting up there in years that are sending me these messages, and they're doing it. They're doing it. It makes me want to cry. They're doing it, folks. And we can learn from them. And all the tips people are putting on out there. You know, thank you so much for all the tips and all the information you're sharing with the rest of us that need it. All of you are helping us. Every time you put something out there, it helps somebody or other. And if one specific thing isn't right for one person, it might be right for another one. So those tips and suggestions are valuable to us. So anyway, so we have to let go of thinking that because we're aging, we have to accept it. You know, that we're just gonna have a painful old age. Because that's not so. We could change it. We could make those changes, folks. Another thing we have to let go of is the thought that nothing works. Because the low-carb diet works, folks. It really does work. It's working for me. Now, it's only been, 2.5 months, and I can't tell you that I've done it for 5 years, because I'm new. And I know that it's one day at a time, and anything could happen. And I pray to God not. I pray to God I can keep on this journey one day at a time. But I have to realize that this diet is working for me. It's changing my life. I'm feeling better. I don't have the pain that I used to get in my back. I'm out here walking where I couldn't walk too well 2.5 months ago. This diet is working. So, yeah. Now, I don't know about other diets too. They work. I don't know the scientific proof about anything. I could not explain it to you. All I know is the low-carb diet keeps you from craving all the things you used to crave. And the hardest part of the carnivore or keto or low-carb diet is getting off the carbs. Once you're off the carbs, it's working. It works for you right at that point in time because you don't have the cravings. It's not 6 months later. I know I'm repeating myself, but you know, some people didn't see those old videos I made, but it's true, folks. You know, this does work. So many people can vouch for it. So many people are being healed from this way of living. I mean, in serious illnesses. Now, I'm getting my sugar down naturally. I'm not taking the medicine. But I always say if you're on medicine, you have to work with your doctor. That's 2 times around, folks. You have to work with your doctor. Otherwise, your sugar will go too low. And that's not good. But just believe that this will work. Start thinking about it positively. You know, I still have my ifs and what, you know, I do, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it, folks. One thought at a time. You know, if I think I'm starting to think negatively, I'm becoming more aware of those thoughts. And I change the direction of what I'm thinking. And that's easy to do once you do it a few times. But you won't do it if you're not aware of it. If you're not aware that you're sitting there thinking about, no, I can't do it. You know, I've tried it so many times. If you're not aware that you're having those negative thoughts, then you can't change it. The first step is awareness. And start believing that something does work. And this carnivore diet works. Or I keep saying that because folks, I love the idea of the carnivore diet. And the reason that would work for me, I think, is because of my diverticulitis. I'm not into eating a lot of vegetables. Other words, the ketovore diet. You know, I might be a ketovore. Right now I might be. But the seeds and the vegetables, and the more that I learn about the oxalates, I'm not into the vegetables anymore, folks. And I know a lot of you, it works for you. You know, you don't suffer with diverticulitis. The oxalates don't bother you. That's why everybody has to be on their own journey. Another thing we should let go is the person that we used to be. We have this image of ourselves, and we've maintained this image for a long time. We have to forget the person that we are. Once we start getting better, we're not that person anymore. We're going to have new likes, new dislikes. You know, we're going to start coming alive. And when that starts to happen, the sooner we can let go of the old person that we used to be, the better off we're going to be. Now, I still have the thoughts that all of these things that I'm telling you. But it's in our best interest to start thinking of what's in the future. We can't do anything about the past. It is what it is. You know, we let ourselves go. But we can do something about the future. It's up to us. We can grow into old age, feeling our best, doing the things we love to do. You know, old age, there are so many people I see out there that look terrific in old age. So it's not a sure thing that we're just going to go downhill It doesn't have to be that way. You know, most of the illnesses out there, like I always say, we cause it ourselves. And we're the ones that's going to make it better. We're going to change it. And we're going to think of ourselves as the new person, not the old person. The old person, gone. We don't even want to think about it anymore. You know, the new person is going to have more stamina, have clearer thinking. You know, our brains are going to be sharp. We're not going to be eating the foods that causes Alzheimer's disease. We'll be off all that processed food. They're calling Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes because they're coming up with evidence that the food we're eating is causing Alzheimer's disease. And if we do the reverse and get off those foods, we're going to have a clear mind. We're not going to be going in the direction of Alzheimer's disease or dementia or any of those mental illnesses. Now, I'm not saying that there's scientific evidence that it's absolute, because it's not. But the one thing that I do know is that they are proving that food has a tremendous effect. And just the idea that we can get off the carbs and start thinking clearer kind of confirms that, doesn't it? You know, the brain fog lifts. You know, that old person we used to be, we didn't think as clearly as we're starting to think as we get better. You know, so what we want to do is start rewriting our story. Right from the very first day that you eliminate your first carb. That's when your story begins. And the story that you're going to write about yourself is going to be one of success, one of health, one of happiness, one of extreme joy, and one of spirituality, because when you start feeling this, spirituality comes to you. Now, there was a time, and I mentioned this in a video, where I was so bad I was losing my spirituality. I was numb. I couldn't think of nothing. Nothing deep like spirituality or anything. You just get numb from that food. So that's going to be part of your new story. You know, where you walk tall and you're not ashamed of yourself and you're not trying to hide behind clothes. And then people do start to treat you differently. It's not fair. It's not fair. But it does happen. I have experienced that. Not this time around, but on other diets, you know, I've noticed a change. And I do think that happens. And that's too bad that happens, because everybody should be treated equally. Just because you're heavy doesn't mean you're a second-class citizen. But, folks, your new story is going to be a bestseller. It sure is. You know, I'm rewriting mine. I'm getting all kinds of goals ahead of me, and I'm feeling so good, and I'm not looking like, oh my God, I'm going to be fat, I'm getting old, I'm going to have to suffer with this diabetes, my back pain's going to get worse, I'm going to be in a wheelchair, you know, then I'm going to end up in a nursing home. No, my story is a new one. It's going to be brand new, and all those other things that I just mentioned, I won't ever think about again. And we shouldn't, you know, even when you say something out loud, your brain, if you say, oh boy, I'm such a failure, Your brain doesn't know whether that's true or not. We have to stop saying those things to us. Rewrite the story. Put a better word into there. Instead of saying I'm such a failure, say I am so good at what I'm doing. I'm such a success. This is working for me. Talk out loud. Say it loud, or I am doing great. And your mind will really start believing it. It's true. That's the way the mind works, folks. That is the way the mind works. So, the next one that we need to let go of is, like I mentioned before, letting go of people who don't support us. If we're around people that are bringing us down and they're trying to sabotage our diet, or they're calling us names, how stupid we are, we're going to hurt ourselves, we're going to end up in the hospital with a heart attack. Meanwhile, a lot of them are sitting there eating the worst garbage you could eat. We got to start letting go of people like that, because they're not in our best interest. Just like I always say, you hang out in a barbershop, you're going to get a haircut. Well, if you hang out with people that bring you down and don't support your cause, you're going to go right back with them, because you're in a group with 6 other people, and all 6 of them are telling you that the low-carb diet is not good for you. So you're standing alone there with your own thoughts and your own belief, and you go out with these people constantly. Eventually, they're going to get to you. Eventually, they're going to get to you. You're going to believe them because they're harping on you all the time of how wrong you are. And you're going to give in, and then there goes your diet or your lifestyle. Until you get stronger, especially, you have to stay away from people like that. They're not going to help you. And I don't know if it's that they don't have your best interest at heart. Maybe it's just that they don't know. They just don't know. We're so fortunate. The ones that are believing in this low carb, we're blessed that we're aware of it and we woke up to it. Other people have not. So I'm not trying to say everybody that tries to talk against it is wrong. They just don't know. And if somebody doesn't know, it's hard to say that they're trying to hurt you. But it's not going to help you. I mean, if these are loving family or whatever, at least try to stay away for the times when they're eating, when the subject of food is going to come up, or at least until you get strong enough where you can get out of that carb flu that you're going through, low carb flu, and you get into ketosis, because then you're going to be stronger. And then just avoid the conversation as much as you can. Don't talk about it. If you know people are not receptive to your way of life, don't even mention it. Especially at the very beginning. Because that was 3 back there. Especially at the very beginning, folks. You can't. It's hard enough dealing with your own thoughts and changing your own behavior and changing your own thought pattern. But to have people constantly telling you you're wrong, it's not going to help you. It's not. And I know some of you will be living with a spouse, or I'm sure that's awfully difficult. But there's got to be a way to do it, folks. Maybe don't tell them that just tell them at first you're doing an elimination diet to see what foods are bothering you. And that's true. That's the way we start out. That's the way I started out. I don't know where I'm going to end up. But I think ketovore or carnivore. But I don't know anything. I'm still new. But I don't like to discuss it with people I don't think are going to be receptive. You know, other people have other health issues, and they need to be on a different diet. Like my sister has different health issues than I do, so her diet has to be different from me. Mine is diverticulitis with diabetes. Yes. So another thing about that is being around people that don't support you are going to drain your energy. You know, they're going to stress you out. You know, you could leave, and I know I've done it. You could say, okay, good night, it was nice seeing you. And you can go home and you can dwell on what was said to you, and it can tick you off the more you think about it. Now, what do you think that's doing to your energy and your good frame of mind? I've been known to do that. Instead of saying something and, you know, sticking up for myself right then and there, which we don't want to get in fights even that way. But, or arguments, not fights. But, that drains you. You go home, you don't say anything, and you replay that whole thing in your mind over and over and over again. And it just ticks you off. The more you think about it, the more you become obsessed about it. And I remember doing that when I worked at the jail. You know, one of my fellow officers, a female, I didn't like the way that she treated me, and that was when I first started. And I went home, and I'd harp about it. And why didn't I say this to her? Why didn't I say that to her? Why did I let her get away with that? You know, she disrespected me in front of the inmates, and I was livid about that. So when I went in the next day, I called her aside, and I said, listen. And I said it to her very calmly, do not ever do that again. You want to talk to me about something, you call me aside. And you don't talk to me in that manner and disrespect me, especially not in front of the inmates. So you do learn to stick up for yourself. But if somebody's insulting about your food habits or anything, that's going to build up inside you. You know, that's going to drain your energy. Instead of focusing on what you're doing and how well you're doing, you're focusing on something so negative and something that eats at you. And when it eats at you, it's not going to be eating the fat cells. It's going to be causing cortisol, causing more fat cells. We have to maintain our energy, and we have to try to stay away from stress, folks, as much as we possibly can. What? Either I'm not seeing this, or hold on, folks. Hold on now. Hold on there. I gotta see what time it is. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious. This went over 30 minutes. I have been wrong all this time. I thought my phone was going to stop at 30 minutes. We have 33 minutes. Well, it's going to shut off, I'm sure. I've been wrong. But I get going with these talks. And I love it because I'm not paying attention to the walking. But if we get cut off, folks, I love you guys. I just wanted, before I close, I just wanted to say a couple of these quotes that I have here. And this is one of them. There's a kind of strength in surrender in saying, I don't need this anymore. I like that quote. I thought that was pretty neat. That's a wonderful thing to say. I don't need those potato chips anymore. You know, I don't need that ice cream anymore. It's so freeing. Another one is let go to grow. And that's what we need to do. Let go of those things I just talked about. And we'll start growing. Another one is this peace. I'm fighting for it. That gives me chills. We all are. We're fighting for it. You know, this is our life. That was a good one. Okay, here's one. You can't become who you're meant to be if you're clinging to who you used to be. How true that is. We gotta let it go, folks. We have to let it all go. All those things I mentioned. And then this final one here, folks, which I love as well. I'm done feeding my pain. I love it. I'm done. It's over. It's done. I'm not feeding my pain anymore. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love all of you. I thank all the new people that came on board. I thank you for the ones that have gone over to my Adirondack Hand channel. And as I mentioned, your comments, I just love them. I've gotten so much off of them. The 2 teaspoons of butter with the salt, I've been doing that. I've been taking the glycinate, and I think I am doing better. For 2 nights in a row, I got a fairly decent sleep, except for my bathroom breaks. I'm cutting down on my water. All of the tips that you put out there. Now, some of them I keep a record of, because if what I have doesn't work, I have all these other tips that you're giving me. I don't disregard them, and your tips are helping other people if I'm not using them at that particular time. So I appreciate them, and I love this community. I tell my family that this is the best, loving, most supportive community on YouTube. I love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye. Oh, hang around, because I'm going to show you the little video that I took my lunch to the lake yesterday. Bye. So some of you have been asking me about what I'm eating. And I'm heading up to the lake today to spend some time with some family. And I had to pack a lunch. So I wanted to show you exactly what I brought. Now, it's going to go into the tiniest cooler that you could imagine. This little one. This stays in the freezer. It has the ice packs on the side. But I start out, I bring the rest of my Coochie Fritos. I bring a couple of the chomps. These are supposed to be better than the beef jerky. I bring some bacon. I had some leftover steak, so I salted it, and I bring some of that. Now, these are the wraps. These wraps I've shown in previous videos. But these are the, hold on folks, these are the Egg Life wraps. There's only 3 carbs, but there's also 1 gram of fiber, so I think that eliminates one of the carbs. 11 grams of protein, 60 calories. Now, I normally only eat 1 of these, but as I'm going to be out, and we might be out on the boat, I didn't want to take a chance and not have enough food. So this should get me through the day. And that's basically all I need. Oh, and I am bringing 2 hard-boiled eggs with salt. And that's it, folks. Most of this will be packed in this little cooler. This here is some of my unsweetened tea that I like to have in the afternoon. And I should be good for the day until I get home, and then I'll cook up something here at home. Now, I'm not spending the night. I'm going to be up at the campground and maybe on the boat, and I'll try to take some clips for you folks. But I hope this is a little bit of a help to you, to those of you that are going out for a day trip. I did have my breakfast this morning. I had bacon and eggs, So I should be good till probably 1 o'clock, at which time I'll eat some of this, and then I'll just nibble on it if I need more as the day goes on. I'm not going to eat all this in one sitting, of course. It's just to make sure I have enough food, healthy food, and I'm not going to get out there and starve. I'm going to maintain my sugar, and I'm going to have food in my stomach, and it's going to be a great day, folks. And I'm going to show you some clips.